Hey everyone, it's Dana here with Love Solar Flowers, and you're kind of far away because this project takes a little more space up. So I've got that here on the table just for some information for those of you who may be joining us for the first time. We are Love Solar Flowers. I'm here in New Jersey. I get to do all the videos and all that kind of fun stuff with you guys. So we're in Eastern Standard Time here, but the warehouse is in California, and that's where they package all your stuff up and send you your orders. Our website is lovesolarflowers.com. You can check out our sale there. It is always easy to find things on our website. There's a drop-down box and it separates categories: flowers, supplies, all that kind of good stuff, fillers. So the website's pretty easy to navigate. You will see the sale prices. If you do own a business, you can sign up for wholesale and get wholesale prices. And then that way, if you always log in, you are set up with your wholesale account and you will always get the cheapest price for every item that is on the website. Then we have a community group where you can share the things you make or ask questions if you have projects you want to make and you're trying to figure stuff out, or if you just want to show off your stuff and give some ideas to other people. And that is facebook.com/groups/lovesolarflowers. Our final thing is these videos. They are live here on our Facebook business page, but after they are live, you can still watch them on replay forever, but they are also copied onto YouTube, which is kind of an easier way to search. If you just type in Love Solar Flowers and then just something you're looking for, let's say boutonnieres or corsages, it'll pull it up. But if you follow our channel, then you get to see all of the tutorials we've ever done for the last few years. So we've got so many different things on there. Lots of ideas, all the different seasons, things for weddings, things for home decor, things for businesses. And again, that's youtube.com/lovesolarflowers. So that's what's going on in the life of Love Solar Flowers right now. We're gonna do a tutorial tonight. As you can see, it's pretty big. I've been wanting to do this one for a while. I just love when you do little touches on things and yet it gives, big impact. Abby, I never rest, but I want to rest. Today I had a wedding set up and I did that all day. So then we came for a tutorial. I have a wedding set up tomorrow morning and on Sunday. So this weekend's been crazy. Did you know that the #1 month for weddings is September? So if you're a bride watching us and you're getting married this month, know that there's a whole lot of you out there doing that. The fall is actually a pretty popular season to get married. I think a lot of people used to think spring was the biggest, but really fall, at least here in New Jersey and on the East Coast, is actually the #1 season that people get married in. So I have been very busy and I don't get rest. But I do love teaching. I do love giving you guys ideas. And my favorite part is when you guys make the stuff and then share the pictures. So that is what I would love for you guys to do. So if you do make this and you're in our community group, please take pictures of what yours is, because of course yours is not going to be exactly the same as mine. And I would love to see it. So I have a picture here. Of course, it could be any picture. And it's got hydrangea on it, or lilacs probably. Well, hydrangea and lilacs it looks like in the picture. And I thought how much our solar flowers really look like this exact flower, like hydrangeas. Our hydrangea looks so much like a real hydrangea and also looks so much like this painting. So I wanted to turn this into a 3D painting, make it a little more special, put my own personal touch on it. And, I'm probably going to give it away to a friend or something because I just love the idea that we can put little personal touches without going crazy, and it looks beautiful. So I got my glue sticks ready. Sometimes these projects where you glue back and forth take a lot of glue sticks. So what I've got is the large hydrangea, and I deconstructed it and then dyed the blossoms. Okay, so I've got some purples and like a pinkier purple and then a purplier purple. And I've got these here. I've cut the wire off of them. If you ever buy the large hydrangea, you know they come on wires, and then those little wires are attached into a blossom of a large hydrangea. So I cut the wires off too, because obviously we're gonna want the back as flat as possible. Although you can't cut them too far because they are tied with strings. Our flowers are handmade and hand tied, so you don't want to cut. So if you're gonna cut, you can get about, let's see if I can show you closer. You can get flat, but not flat because again, you don't want to cut too far and then your whole flower deconstructs. And so I'm gonna do, the first thing I'm gonna do, now when you're having a picture with flowers or something on it, now of course you can add flowers to all pictures, but the best part is when your picture is of flowers. Hey Janice. So this picture is of, hi Luann, this picture is of flowers. So that's why I like this one, because we're really gonna make the actual picture look 3D. So if you're gonna do it and there's greenery, try to find some greenery that matches as close as possible. Again, even your colors, as close as possible. They don't have to be exact, but you're wanting to be as close as possible. What I did is I had some leaves and I actually just cut them to fit my picture. So I'm just gonna match these up again. And I wanna put these on first because I'm going to be putting, obviously these are gonna be in the background, and I'm gonna build my hydrangea up from there. So I'm just gonna take my glue and I'm gonna put a decent amount on it. And I'm gonna just press it right in there. Okay, so I've got 3 leaves. I was even thinking, this one has birds on it. I was even thinking, I have a fake little birdie I was gonna put on, but these are hummingbirds and I thought maybe I'll throw the whole picture off if I put another random birdie on it. So I didn't put the birdie, but you can do things like that. If there's something else on your picture that looks like something that you can get, like let's say your picture has baby's breath on it, then use baby's breath, you know? So you can kind of just match up the fillers. It kind of takes the thinking out of it. So as you can see, I laid my leaves here. And again, I took a leaf that was pretty big and I just cut it to fit because it was the closest shape possible. Now, I'm gonna do this hydrangea on this side, this one over here, and then this big one in the center because I don't wanna just cover the whole thing. Now, if I was gonna cover the whole thing, I really would do the exact kind of colors and I would really fill it in because you're gonna want to make sure you can see the separation of it and all of that. But I don't wanna do that. I'm just wanting to do touches of it. So I'm gonna use this lighter color for this kind of pinky purple. And then this one's just a little darker. I'm gonna use my darker one for that. So I'm just gonna glue directly to my board. So I'm gonna just start filling these little pieces. Now, the hydrangea is amazing because of its ability to be deconstructed and used for so many different things. And use it for boutonnieres, use it for accent flowers, use it to fill gaps. So there's a lot of things you can do when you buy a large hydrangea. So you're not only getting a large hydrangea, but you're also getting a bunch of minis at the same time, which is always kind of fun. Now, if you haven't ever seen our video, we've also shown you how to take the large hydrangea and turn it into a lilac. So I know it's not lilac season right now again, but if you want to think ahead for when it's going to be, it is a fun little thing to do with the hydrangeas. They really truly look like lilacs. I had gotten an order for lilacs because it was, I think it was from Mother's Day, and it was the favorite flower, or maybe it was a birthday, and it was the person's favorite flower. And I was like, you know what, I don't have lilacs, but this hydrangea looks awfully a lot like a lilac if I were to pull it apart. So we've done that. So the positive about the large hydrangea is there's lots of things to do with it besides it being just a hydrangea. So again, I'm just taking my pieces and I'm gluing them down. It's not really that difficult or anything, but I'm wanting to make sure. Now, if you do an exact color match, you could let more of it peek through than if you're kind of just picking your own color here. But, okay, so I've got this one down and I've got my leaf. I'm gonna turn it around to show you. So look, you can't even see, isn't that kind of funny? Look how close the Sola flower is to hydrangea. You can barely tell from the screen that it's 3D, but I promise you it is. Let's see. Here, look, if you look this way. See? Like that. But look, from back here, you kind of can't even tell. That's crazy. I haven't ever looked at it from far away, but that's it's kind of like a mind trick. So I've got that one done. Now, I'm gonna do the same color on the other side, and then this piece, I'm gonna do the darker. I think I'm gonna add the little buds to a couple little places down here as well. But yeah, I love it too, right, Jill? Especially because of this song. So me and Jill used to listen to this song while we worked. So that's a fun little inside behind the scenes. All right, so I'm gonna fill this guy up over here. Now, there's kind of two, let's see if I can turn this on. There's kind of two over here. So I wanna make sure I try to stay distinctly on one of them because I want it to look like I'm just pulling out one and not the other. So I'm just gonna keep going. As you can see, some of them I tilt a little to the side, some I press down straight. I do wanna give it, you know, some interest and not just bloop, 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 flat, flat, flat. I'd like to make it, because you know, sometimes some blossoms are turned, some blossoms are straight up, some you see only the side of. So I believe this picture, are these, I guess these are considered, are these lilac? I think the painting is meaning them to be lilacs, the tall ones, and then the round puffy blues, I guess are hydrangea, unless it's meaning the whole thing to be hydrangea. Maybe hydrangeas also grow tall like that, I don't really know. I mean, I have hydrangeas, but mine don't grow tall like that. They're usually puff balls. So I'm gonna keep going on this side. I do know someone had just asked me about, remember we turned peonies into irises. So I do like turning flowers that we have into flowers that aren't necessarily made in Sola. So we have done a few of them actually. We've done the lilac, like I said, with the hydrangea, but we've also done irises and a few others as well. We've done poppies and all. So if you are into that, kind of deconstructing and reconstructing, which is kind of fun, check out our YouTube videos and search for all those kind. Because I think it's so fun to come up with more ways to have flowers that aren't necessarily made in wood, because again, these are handcrafted, they're not machine done, and so sometimes we're limited on the styles of flowers. You know, they don't use wires and glues and everything else that we can do to make different shapes and stuff. They use just hand tying and hand cutting, all that kind of stuff. So again, it's a little bit complicated sometimes, but we have the access to all this stuff to make whatever we want out of them. So if you're just joining us, this is a large hydrangea that has been deconstructed into little blossoms. And I might just have to do this whole one if it looks like I can't tell which is which, but let's see. Now I'm trying to see up here, I'm a little far away from it, but hopefully I fill all those gaps in. And so again, this was a large hydrangea because this is obviously the flower that looks closest to what we're doing here. But if you're doing another picture that has different styles of flowers, obviously pick the flower that looks most like yours and then dye it the colors that you're wanting. I did not mind that these were a little bit lighter than what I was putting, because I thought if it peeked through, it could give a little bit of a two-toned effect. Plus, it brings a little more dimension and separation, because some of this picture blended in together. And I was like, I can't really tell what starts with, ends with, starts. So I thought if I changed a couple of the colors, but you could actually, a painting like this, you could almost do the entire, you could have done the entire thing if you picked the exact colors they did, like, you know, do the purpley blue, do the blue blue, and then fills up your whole thing. So I'm gonna hold this up again. So far, we've done 2 of the hydrangea pieces and we've added leaves, but look at how great that looks. You can't really tell which is which. That's how amazing these hydrangeas look. They look so much like the real thing. They are very worth Some people are always like, oh, but they're a little more expensive, but they have a lot of blossoms. They are the biggest flower because it's a bundle of flowers. But I love this because, again, you can see it's 3D from this angle. But when you hold it up, you can't really tell in like a cool kind of way. So let me see if I want to add that one blossom. I feel like this comes out a little bit more. I'm gonna just add a few more to make the shape the way that I want it to be. Yeah, it looks good, doesn't it? I always have hydrangea in stock, not just because I do a lot of weddings, but because they're so versatile and because it's automatic minis that can do whatever you want. I don't think I need that one. Do I need that one? Let me see. I feel like I don't know if I want this one or not. Let me see. All right, I'm gonna put it on. Yes, there is a smaller hydrangea, just a regular classic hydrangea. And those are a little bit tighter wound. They're not as easy to deconstruct. The large hydrangea is the one that you want to use if you really want to deconstruct. The smaller hydrangeas are somewhat easier to use in an arrangement because it doesn't take up so much space if you're wanting that. They're smaller, and they're also wire, and you just bend the wire straight out and you can actually stem those and use those. But hydrangea in general are a popular flower. So look, this is what I've got so far. Isn't that pretty? Maybe I'll do the blue too. I mean, not right now because I have to dye them, but I was thinking I was just gonna do the purple, but now I'm like, maybe I should just keep going. All right, so now I'm gonna use the darker ones, and I'm gonna fill this space over here. And I think this is where it's gonna start pulling everything out because it's a different color. This color almost matches exactly the color of the painting. Squeeze it in there. So do I. I think my mom got these for me. I wanted some paintings to make for people, and she saw this and so actually this is probably her idea. She's like, can you add some flowers? I don't think she was thinking I was gonna actually add it on like 3D, but she was like, oh, there's flowers on it. Maybe you can do something with it. And the sign is pretty too. This sign was pretty too because there's a lot of different colors in it, in the jars and everything. If you're a painter too, I know a lot of people, there's some, in our group, there's some painters who actually like paint their own paintings and then add the flowers to them. So if you could actually paint a flower that you have and that we carry, you could actually make this yourself and inspired by yourself and use the exact same colors you painted to dye your flowers. So if you're a painter, this might be a good idea for you to think about. Or you could even sell the paintings to people who do SOLA, who might want to support one of their gal pals in the group. So if you paint pictures where people can 3D it, maybe, and then just tell them what colors you use and they can match. That might not be a bad shtick there. So I'm just gonna fill this rest up with this color, and then there's a couple little blossoms I'm gonna put down at the bottom. But again, this is not a hard project. It's not so complicated. I am gonna do slightly more complicated Halloween things coming up, but this, on the other hand, is pretty simple in terms of how to construct it. But sometimes it's just someone doing it and giving you the idea and being like, why didn't I think of that? And then going out and making it your own, because that's really what we love to see, is that we don't necessarily need you to replicate, our tutorials exactly. We want to see it just give you ideas. Maybe it sparks, ooh, well that wasn't good. Rubbed right off, so. Maybe it sparks other ideas for you. And I love that because I love when my idea will lead to someone else's new idea. And then they share it. And then I'm like, oh, that was such a great idea. Okay. So let's see. Is there any other place I want to put these? I think I want to do these little guys at the bottom just to bring something at the bottom. I dropped that blob of glue, but it literally just rubbed right off. I'm always making a mess. That is like what I'm known for, being clumsy. I'm clumsy. I like cut myself, burn myself, trip on things, stub my toe, hit my elbow, bruise, like all day long. It is just my style. Yes, the thrift store is the best. And then you can just find things that you can add just a touch of things on it, you know, nothing crazy. And not spend $1 bajillion. Okay. All right, I'm gonna de-string it. If you've watched our tutorials before, you know that you can de-string by either using a heat gun and you blow it with a heat gun and it melts your strings, or a hairdryer on hot and it dissolves those little webby strings that are floating. The heat, like on contact, goes and it dissolves them right up. So I think that's all I want to do. There's a couple there. I just feel like that's maybe not necessary. Yeah, I don't want to go too much because then I'm just going to make a big blob. And sometimes I go too much and I should just stop. So let me turn this around for you. And again, if you wanted to do some of the blue in this like that. So when you're picking something up, let's say you do sunflowers, right? There's lots of pictures with sunflowers. You can paint your sunflowers and glue your sunflower over the sunflowers. And then, you know, let's say it has one with red roses. Buy new beauties, dye them red, and then you can just glue it right over. So paintings with flowers obviously are very easy if you can just find pictures that, you know, have the flowers exactly. But if not, you can be creative like we were with deconstructing the hydrangea. And that was that simple. So there's a whole bunch of different things you can do. Obviously, minis are helpful for little pictures and things like that. So if you haven't ever tried using our little minis for projects, minis are size 1 inch and 1.5 inches. So when you go to a flower you love, you use the drop-down box and it shows you all the different sizes. The 1 inch and the 1.5 are the minis, and that way you can pick exactly the flower you want. Or you can buy a mini assortment, and that just gives you a bunch to try out. And then you always have those. I just always every time I make an order, I buy a set of minis, and that way I always have them for projects. Again, this specifically though was the large hydrangea, and I just deconstructed it. And look, you can't really tell, just a little hint of it, but like when you look to the side, obviously, look. So when it's hanging though, look how pretty that would be. You know, it would, like to the eye, you're like kind of tricked. So I like that kind of look. If you filled the whole thing up, I don't know. I don't think you need to. I think just the little touches are fun. So that is that. So I hope you liked this tutorial. Again, not anything complicated, but just hopefully a good idea for you guys to try. Again, these do great at things like craft shows. They don't cost a lot of money. They don't take a lot of time. And you can charge, obviously what you would do is take how much you paid for your picture and put a retail value on the picture itself, and then add you know, how much you're going to charge for your flower part as well. But make sure when you're pricing these that you're taking into consideration that even if you get something at a thrift shop for $2, if it's a painting that you would buy in a store for $15, make sure you're charging the $15 part, not the $2 from the thrift shop, or I had it around my house and someone gave it to me and you're regifting or something. Like don't charge necessarily the price that you paid for it. Charge what the retail value of it is. So, you know, this picture is probably like 20-something dollars. And then, you know, my flower portion, it was 2 hydrangeas with some dye. So let's just say I put $30 into it. I probably would charge $50 for it personally at like a farmer's market or something like that. So But these are great gifts as well, you know, especially if you have a last minute gift, you know, one of your friends or your mom or something like that, and you're like, I need to have something with the gift card, or I need to have something, you know, just to give them real fast. You know, these things are easy and fast to put together. So it's nice to keep these kind of in your closet waiting for your touch. So anyway, I hope you liked it. Let me show you one more time standing up. And we will do more tutorials next week. And again, we're gonna do some more like Halloween and fall ones, and hopefully a little bit more complicated ones to help those of you who want kind of a little more expert level. But these are just kind of easy, fun things to get done as the farmer markets are sizzling out now from the summer. So, all right, everyone, I hope you have a really great night and a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Bye, everyone.